Through my life, I've moved around a lot, and kind of the beginning of finding my voice in my art practice was trying to marry all the different cultures that I've started to associate my identity with. So yeah, I feel like I'm always a person moving through spaces I'm not familiar with, and also as a queer person kind of not fitting into the fabric of the place I grew up in, having to make my own spaces. In this edition of the Biennale, I made a textile installation which was inspired by the book Vagabonds by Elogosa Osunde. And the book basically talks about different queer characters navigating Lagos, and I really related to it, living in Nairobi as a queer person, and trying to move through the environment in many different ways and experiencing the city in a very unique perspective. So for this textile work, I tried to kind of encapsulate different times of day or bite-sized landscapes that all come together to kind of communicate a journey through different periods of time or times of day, a kind of a feeling of being in an upside-down environment and weaving through the staggering of the works. I kind of felt I was creating a feeling of weaving through space. In the book, she also marries the spirit world with the earthly realm very well. And this is something I've been interested in my practice. So it's something I try to also encapsulate in my mark making. I believe like my practice all starts with the idea of home and looking for home. And it's why I was drawn to textiles. I use different types of cotton that would be found in the home. For example, cotton used for bed sheets or curtains, shears. So I'm really trying to use materials that would relate to the body and things that you would see on an everyday basis. And with my pigments, I'm also using things that I grew up with. For example, different types of teas and spices and salts. And often they're related to memories I have of like sharing a cup of tea with my mother, or the spices we would use to cook, and the smells also kind of evoke these memories or bring up these memories for me and other people when they see the work. I'm quite interested also in making pigments, just trying to see the life cycle of where something starts and where it ends. So for example, with a flower, growing the flower, extracting the pigment, drying, and seeing the whole life cycle of, yeah, something that's alive. Yeah. And in this work, we also have some beaded sections. And beading is it's a traditional women's practice in Kenya, and it's something I've learned from the women around me, and I'm really interested in using these practices to kind of remember our histories. And it's also a moment where you spend a lot of time together, so you learn and you share a lot of stories in this time.